We're here with Bingo just outside of the exit to Moria, and we are now going to be heading down towards Lothlorien. And our first mission is to find Durin Stone and defeat a few orcs, which handily for our purposes are right by Durin Stone. It really does feel like a breath of fresh air, even here in the dark after the confines of Moria, especially if you've played through it for several weeks, quite possibly, even several months. It really is a lot of content in Moria. And here we are down at Durin Stone. And the stars that reflect here, they're there during the daylight as well. And the mirror, I believe it's called. So we just need to pick up six orcs just around here. And that's that. And then we need to travel further on down out of the Dimble Dale towards Lothlorien to find Bingo. So we're going to start leaving the dwarvish ruins behind us, and we'll soon be into elf territory. Here's Bingo, looking down towards Lothlorien now. Now we have a little instance here. So we're basically just going through a walk towards Lothlorien, which you can just see the trees in the background there. Unfortunately, Bingo, no, not elves. Willem here actually helps us fight, which is unusual. However, this time, hello, who is killing those orcs for us? And handily, it's the elves. Well, dear, no less. And very kindly, he is going to introduce us to Celeborn and Galadriel. Always feel Lothlorien has been very well done. There's a good sense of scale, beautiful colours. It's a pain navigating, but up and down those flats, but beautifully done. And here we have Celeborn and Galadriel. course, as we're following the Fellowship, the other hobbits, Merry, Pippin, Frodo and Sam, will of course have just visited. And when you play through the epic quest, you actually catch up with the party here and get to interact with them a bit, which is nice. The timeline, of course, has been played around with the game. In reality, of course, the company were here right after coming through Moria, and yet Moria, of course, is really fairly well developed by the dwarves. And yet, theoretically, that's just a day or three after the company passed through. That's the end of the instance there. Here's Bert, and here is Bingo. And what we have to do now is travel a fair way to borrow some books. Have we got that stable master? Yes. So what we'll do is we'll stable master around to Cairn Amroth. We will just jump off first. We've got a couple of quests here which are just a fair bit of riding back and forth, back and forth. There's a very nice sort of misty, soft focus effect to Lothlorien. A little bit like at Trestle Bridge in the North Downs. And if you have, I've got the long detail turned down, but if you turn the graphics up to maximum, it really does look very picturesque. Right, let's just hop off here and cut across. I know that Penaseth is in like a gazebo on top of a hill, which you need to approach from the south side. So we don't want to approach too directly. And this is the hill, and they're just on there. One thing to watch for just here is don't just pick up one lot of books and turn around, because Penaseth has lots of books. 4 lots. And now we're just going to run back to Bingo. Let me just load my toolkit. For reasons unknown, the streaming software doesn't allow double clicks, which is a little bit annoying. There we go, all sorted. Walling into Nimbradell is a bit of a pain because there aren't too many places to get out again, so do watch out for that. Another unusual aspect of Lothlorien is some of the mobs are protected, which means if you kill them, you lose a bit of reputation. And reputation for the elves here and in Mirkwood is harder to obtain than in many areas, mainly because there's no task items that you can hand in for reputation. So losing it is generally not advisable. And we're going to hand the books over to Bingo. And that's our quest for the week done. And now we're going to head off to Felleron, who's really not too far away from exactly where we just were. So we'll do the same thing again. We'll just stable master up to Kerenam Roth, and then just cut across. This is quite a nice little sort of quest series up in the northwest corner of Lothlorien, where the orcs are making incursions. Really, this isn't in the books, of course, at all, but it would be part of the whole War of the Ring that there were incursions around assorted areas of Middle-earth which weren't reflected in the book, and so this really is just building on that there is trouble in northwest Lothlorien, and although the Lothlorien elves aren't part of the main battles down in Gondor, they were playing their part. And for those of you who are only familiar with the films, there were no elves in the books at Helm's Deep, apart from Legolas, of course. Probably should have hopped off by now, as this path is quite winding, but we'll let it just run out. The Fellowship are hanging around this area here generally. Let's just mount up and go and find Felleron. And here he is with Bingo. And what he wants us to do is go and defeat some of the orcs and goblins, give them a hand. Yeah. They're basically up on a plateau. To the northwest of the trees. There's plenty of them. And one more. There we go. And back to fair run again. And now that really is it for bingo in Lothlorien and Dimmeldale. The next area is to go over to Mirkwood. Just ride down just to finish this particular quest. We could ride over to Karen Amroth and just ride down. One of the issues with Lothlorien is that the fast travel is gated to those of you who've completed a certain number of quests, so it isn't something which is granted immediately, which is a little bit of a pain, as it does mean a lot of riding or slow ponying around. There's only a few areas that are like this. Certainly all the later expansions didn't include that feature, shall we say. I really don't think it adds anything to gameplay at all, and just means you're spending more time just riding around quite slowly. Especially if you know a quest like this, which is just essentially just riding around and defeating a few bad guys. Can we stable master down? There we go. The vineyards are very close to the docks indeed, so we're just going to ride down. Again, fast travel would be better. In the game, Lothlorien and Mirkwood appear to be basically either sides of the Anduin, and yet in reality, of course, there is a fairly wide plain between the two, and some of the more recent expansions, Wells of Langflood and Vales of Anduin, have filled in part of that area, which is good. But certainly in the book world, Mirkwood and Lothlorien don't abut either side of the lake at all, either at the River Anduin. Right, let's just ride round to the docks. Which are just over here to the left. And then Mirkwood is in game, is physically there. And so basically now we need to gain access to Mirkwood, which, rather like Moria, has a little sort of introductory area before you can explore the area proper, and we'll do that in a separate stream. Thanks for watching.